Okay, let's go on to number 3.
So rule number 3 is silent seats means sit and zip. Now again, that is obviously a phrase that you would not use with a group of 16-year-olds, and similarly an 18-month-old child. But the concept of silent seats is basically to build in a trigger that overcomes any kind of, his kind of overexcitement or general raucousness in the group. So leaders should be using silent seats as an instruction for any time where their children need to sit down together in a group and be quiet. Silence is only required once to get the whole group to settle down. We're obviously not expecting the children to be completely silent throughout any kind of group setting, but it's about giving the children a trigger to sit down. And this is really, really useful for when the kids get really overexcited in a game and you can sense as a leader you're losing control. So say you're playing some kind of like running game, the children are all playing and having a great time, but they're just getting too hyperactive and you can see it's going to end in tears. Calling out silent seats and standing and waiting for the children to respond is a really good way of calming them down without issuing any kind of penalty, because actually children getting overexcited is just children being children. We're not penalising them for the fact that they got a bit hyperactive, but we also need to train them how to calm themselves down. So it's recognising that children aren't as good at regulating their bodies and their kind of reactions to adrenaline as we are, and creating a way that helps them. And by using it consistently, it means that in that moment where they're super hyperactive, they're still going to respond in a helpful way without us having to raise our voice or issue any kind of penalty.
I know you were saying about, exactly how you do that. So you were saying about the main leader saying silent seats and then the other leaders sort of supporting it. How exactly does it work?
Exactly. So if I was a sort of the key leader running that segment of whatever the group activity was, then I would stand up, ideally kind of at the front of the group, but it might be that actually another position is more suitable. I'd stand up and I would say silent seats, and then I'd put my finger on my lips and I would stand and wait, and I'd make as much eye contact as possible with all of the children. So making sure they can see that I've issued an instruction, because of course if they're running around and kind of a bit chaotic, it might take them a couple of seconds to notice. At the same time, I'd be expecting my fellow leaders to be supporting the children, which might mean just putting their hand on a shoulder and just pointing towards me so the children are able to engage. So it's all about supporting the children in connecting with that command. So we're not penalising them, we're not shouting at them, we're not pushing them down, we're helping them to choose to engage. And of course, if there are children that are persistently disruptive or deliberately disobey that command, then again you would go through a warning system. But on the whole, we would expect most children to comply pretty quickly. And the reason that we use that kind of tool is because it's one that's used really commonly throughout primary schools. So it's kind of drawing on children's other life experiences and working with the grain really there. That's why it can feel a bit kind of clunky and corny, but actually it's really helping the children because it's playing by the same rules that they play in other settings.
Great.